Hey guys, it's Kay, aka the Purple Teapot, and welcome to the One Season Stand, where I am going to be reviewing the first seasons of shows that are new mostly, and maybe some old ones too. But let's get into it. Today, I'm going to be talking about Butterfly. I am like a week, maybe two, late, but I am going to blame marketing. And I just want to start off by saying this is quite a interesting story, and I think it's something that people should watch. It's that almost like K-pop Demon Slayer or Demon Hunter film, where they're bringing that Korean drama vibe with that like Western twist, and it's done quite well, and I really enjoyed it. So little heads up at the end of this, I'm going to give it a rating and whether or not I think that you should watch it. I am going to try my best to keep it as spoiler free, but I have watched this season and I am somebody who sometimes spoil things. But if I say something, I'm going to try my best to keep it as vague as possible. Okay, so let's get into Butterfly. So Daniel Day Kim, who was on New Amsterdam for a bit, played Helen's boyfriend, but that shortly ended. Honestly, in another life, I personally think that Helen went to find either Casey or Akash. Yeah, one of them. But this is not about New Amsterdam. This is something new. But would it be me if I don't shout out that show? Shout out to Showrunner Jail. That's where those waste men are. Anyways, so the story follows David, who is trying to get his daughter Rebecca out of her job as an assassin. And the whole thing is that he helped set up this company with Juno, who's like the big boss, and she's like the orchestrator of all things, and he had to fake his death, and now his daughter works for Juno and he's trying to get her out. But does she want to get out is the question. There's a lot of back and forth between Juno and David, and a lot of back and forth between Juno and her son Oliver and David and his daughter Rebecca. I think this is where I go deep and I say that these are two different examples of how parenting goes wrong can affect your child in different ways, or your children in different ways. As you watch, you'll see that Juno and Rebecca, because she was there for Rebecca when David wasn't there, Juno and Rebecca's relationship, you will be confused at the start almost, but you'll also see how the relationship that Juno has with Rebecca has changed the wiring of Rebecca's brain, and that leads all the way up to like the last minute of the season, which is so insane. I think like David is a really interesting case study because it's like he has to fake his death and he's like living in Korea for like 9 years, and he's got a daughter in America who he doesn't send for. Like, he could have went and got her, but instead he just leaves her and then he gets married and has another child. This is a little spoiler, but it doesn't matter if you Google it. It's not that big to it's big enough to the story, but not to the point where I'm spoiling massive things. It's like, this character, I want to like him, but he abandoned his child, and as somebody who knows what it's like to not see your dad for years and then he pops up with a new kid, it's a strange feeling, it really is. So I do feel for Rebecca, and because of that, you can see how, as much as Rebecca is like loving the fact that she's getting to like be with her dad, there's this thing in the back of her head, and you can see it especially towards the end where she's like, well, he started a new family without me and he didn't even bat an eyelid. And then we have Rebecca. As I was saying, we're going to talk about Rebecca. Rebecca has like, you see it at the beginning, actually you see it quite a lot. She's got like this very strong attachment to Juno. We don't see a lot of it during the series, but I like that we don't. It's giving that space for potential seasons, basically, to kind of make people understand in future seasons how their relationship works. And she's also got like almost this sibling rivalry, I'd call it, with Oliver. I wish we got to see that a tiny bit more. Like, we could see it. It was more talked about between David and Juno than seen between Rebecca and Oliver. Like we saw a bit of it, but it was like, but I like to see that contrast, because there's lots what happens with Oliver that is almost he's told he's told certain things happened because his mom Juno um favored Rebecca, even as a child when David was around. Rebecca's also really interesting to me. Her character, I did not expect the twists and turns, even though it wasn't surprising when it happened, like the ending happened. Because the entire time, you can see that she's built this wall. She's had 9 years to build this wall. And you can see it slightly crumble, but you still don't know what's behind the wall. And then you realize, like, towards the end, like, rah, it's like that. That's all I can say. And then Juno's character was interesting to me. Just because, like, as a woman who is apparently an assassin, why do you have zero skills? I'm not gonna lie. Why didn't we see this woman, like, I know I'm trying to keep this spoiler free, but why didn't we see this woman in some serious fight scenes? Like, the only time we even see her get, like, angry or get in a position where she's not calm. And I get it's an acting choice because she's meant to be the boss. Was that scene in that room where she, like, flips a chair? And I'm just like, I just feel like if we got to see David fight, why didn't she fight? Like, there was like a little bit, but, like, not enough. And I'm really interested to see, when you watch the show, you'll see where the character goes. But I'm interested to see if there's another season, what happens to this character, because I think that everything that happened, especially towards the end, I want to see what happens with their relationship with her son, how that reconciles, and also her relationship with Rebecca, and how the ending of this season, how Juno has contributed to that, because I'm pretty sure she had her hand in that. I just think this is a really fun show. I think that if I'm gonna say it here and now, I think that if you like Korean dramas and you also like you like shows like Reacher and The Equalizer, I think that this is definitely a show for you. Almost think it's better than Equalizer, even though I love Queen Latifah. I really think this is a really good series, and I wish that it was marketed better, because I didn't know that this series was coming out. And I looked and it looked like it had more international marketing. So, like, all the Amazon accounts in Asia were promoting it, and I didn't see much promotion here, even though it's a really good series. And I think as we get into things, and we get into how the industry, as a TV industry, gets into how popular Korean dramas is over outside of Korea, I think we're going to see more people investing more money in things like this, because this has potential to do amazing in the US, the UK, in Europe, in Africa. But let's see what the future holds. This is where spoilers are going to come again. So we're going to do memorable moments. For me, the ending. That ending, I was going to do a section where I was like, if I rewrote that ending, I don't think I could have rewritten that ending and had such an impact on myself the way that ending had an impact on me. I also liked the end fight scene, even though it was super, like, cheesy. Like, Daniel's fighting looked great, yeah, but there's that moment when he's in front of Gunn, that was so cheesy. Also, when when they have that whole chase scene with Oliver, I thought that's another honorable mention, because honestly, I wasn't expecting that to happen to that car, but I just thought it was fun just seeing that. It's in a random, like, residential street. Nobody says nothing. But I also, it more speaks to that whole plot that they had with Oliver. Now that I'm thinking back, Rebecca really, I think she's just here for herself and nobody else. But you'll see that when you watch it yourself, for those who haven't watched it. And does this pass the season test? Yes. I would make this one season into 2 seasons. Like, yeah. And a rating, we're gonna give it a proper rating. So this series, I'm going to give a B plus. I think it was high quality production, high quality performances, especially from the actress who played Rebecca. That chase scene right at the end before the final fight, or during the final fight. Thinking back, the way that she performed was quite scary. And I might have a little bit of nightmares because of how unpredictable that character is. I didn't realize. But yeah. And it's getting a B plus and not like an A or A star or whatever because of the shit marketing. Like, come on now. You telling me we couldn't have a couple posts? We could have a couple posts because this was a good series, and I think that more people should watch. But who am I to tell you what to do? Tell me what you think, honestly, in the comments of this series. If there are comments about this series, this season, I will read your comments. Anyways, if you're still listening, don't forget to like, comment, give 5 stars if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever you listen to podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget, you always have a space in my comments to share your views. Anyways, thank you. Goodbye, and I'll see you later.